Please excuse my poor potato. It's late and he's a little bit excited that people are still awake. And he has not been told to go to bed, so therefore he's trying to keep himself awake like a small child would.
So everything is clean and mostly reassembled. I cleaned the whole motherboard array of blocks.
The block situation.
Yep. Cleaned the radiators. This is the front one that was very, very nasty.
You got a little thing.
Oh. Ew. It's like booger consistency.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's clean now, mostly. Within margin of acceptance. The pump is clean. That radiator, or the reservoir, is now clean. Except for the scratching that's right here. That occurred within the first time that we drained my loop. So, it's kind of unfortunate that it's there. But it's there.
It's actual scratching, you can feel it with your nail on the inside of the tube.
It's like etched in.
And there's no amount of scrubbing that's actually going to get rid of it. And unfortunately, it's not that easy to get a 400 millimeter tube at 11 o'clock at night. So in the middle of farm town. So it will have to do. The show goes on, as they say.
Yeah, and I've dealt with that for a year and a half. What I do is I just make sure that the threading for where it's scratched is facing the inside of the computer, and it's on the bottom, so it's always covered up by fluid.
Yeah.
And then I got fun new fans. They link together, and they make pretty lights. I don't know how they work.
What's the difference between that fan and the fan that you previously had?
This one's got a 2-year warranty. I don't know. They link together. They snap together.
Okay.
That's the biggest difference.
No. In terms of pretty, they're different.
Oh, these are addressable. Those ones weren't.
Mm.
I thought you meant fundamentally different.
Well, I mean, these are fundamentally very different. These are fundamentally high static pressure Lee and Lee fans. They daisy chain together, and they have a lot more RGB.
Mm-hmm. They're very pretty. They had about 6 different options for these daisy chainable fans. And they all do something just a tad different.
And Jessica chose the most obnoxious one of them all. I'm throwing shade, but...
Probably.
She did choose the one with the most lights.
Yeah, I like the little border. Oh, these are wild. Oh, I don't know what to do with this. Okay. Alright. 4 cables for 3 fans.
Oh, good. It's in Chinese. The most universal language in America.
I hope that the Chinese says the same thing as the English, but judging from the bigger QR codes, I don't think it does.
Well, here, let me read that.
The English says thank you. Box of accessories.
Long live Mao Zedong.
Oh my god, there's so much.
Nah, it doesn't say that. I don't know what it says, but it doesn't say that.
There's a lot going on here. What? Please tell me there's instructions.
Maybe you should read the manual.
I'm trying to find it. They feel a little bit smaller than the old ones.
I don't really know how to respond to that.
they just feel a little bit smaller. Overall, they feel smaller. Okay.
I mean, they have less material on the sides so that they can interconnect.
I got stickers. Oh. this doesn't help anymore. This is not helpful.
It's like it's in a foreign language.
Why does it open like this?
When the English doesn't make any sense, so you decide that you're just going to pick up a foreign language. You're like, well, maybe Italian makes more sense.
These are the instructions for the software.
Very good. All of the instructions thus far are not very helpful.
No. They've got pictures, but I'm kind of confused at what the pictures are showing me. I kind of understand that it's totally modular and no fan speed readings. Got it. These can't read either. It's a USB to... What? My motherboard doesn't have one of those.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What kind of cable is it?
Like the old phone chargers, the one before USB-C.
Give me that.
It's a USB-B?
Micro USB.
Sure. Hey, look, a fan controller. It does not have instructions.
USB to micro USB. How curious.
Okay, here's the magnetic strip. It's pretty much already in place. You just gotta take the adhesives off. Ooh, those were really wide. Ugh! Why are you throwing things at me? Okay, here's some instructions. I feel like I have like the dial tone going on in the back of my head, just trying to load what I'm looking at.
She's got fax noises going on.
Hey. What? No, come here.
You want the middle one backwards?
No.
You got it. Perfect. There we go. Yeah. Now we're really cooking with gas.
No, put it on right.
Yeah. Anywho.
I've got questions.
Okay. What are your questions?
What the fuck do we do with these?
Do it. Give me this. Give me this right here.
Yes, but why?
To keep it from getting scratched.
But they come with them.
Then don't. We don't have them anymore. All right.
Are they sticky?
No, that's it. They don't exist anymore. No more. They're not. No, don't you fucking take those off.
Ooh. So what I did pick up from those instructions is you can take these out.
Yes.
And you can change the directions of these things.
Yes.
And these connect onto here.
Yes.
Do you just need one for the whole thing?
Yes.
Or do you need two?
No.
One for each side.
Yes.
Then you need two.
No. One. You make sure that one of them hooks up to the other one.
But how are you doing this?
Notches.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Tabs.
Yes.
Okay. Tab. End notch. Offset. Yeah?
Yeah.
Straighten.
Okay.
Questions, comments, concerns.
Not yet.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
Can you please find out?
I get the stickers. snap on really hard.
Screws.
One of the decisions that I made while cleaning the pump and putting the bracket back on so that we could put it back in the case was that I rotated my inlet and outlet more towards facing inwards. That way this really difficult bend from the back of the radiator to the pump can be a little easier. Hopefully that does the trick. I don't know if it will. So we're picking up where we left off last night, where we've got the radiators in, we've got the pump in, we've got all the blocks on, everything's cleaned up. And I think my next course of action that I'm going to take is I'm going to put a bunch of the lines into the motherboard first, leaving a gap between for 2 runs between the graphics cards and the M.2s. Because I can't do that while it's out of the case. My one concern here is that this block is a little bit thicker than this block, which means that the height between the fittings is going to be different. And the concern here is that it'll be at a weird angle and it might pull on this block this way.
That's a very valid concern. We don't have anything for that. We're going to have to just bend the tubing and heat it up. Explain what happened.
So earlier, we were fiddling with this radiator, and we're like, hey, there's a hole in the case right there. If we scoot the radiator over just this way a little bit, and file this hole just a tad bigger, we can get fittings through it. So that's what we did. And I've got an extension, and then a T-connector, and then a rotary fitting. And it barely fits. And I said, hey, at least I don't have to take the fans off to scoot the radiator around on its bracket.
Turn it. Turn it.
So he says, you know, hey, we're redoing the drain loop because draining this thing sucks. So we want to have the drain loop come out of right here. So I rotated my pump. By the way, this thing's too short. Again. Still. Go away. So we said, hey, we're going to use these as extensions because we only have one extender. And it's hanging out back here. So we said, well, what about one of these? It don't fit. It's too wide. Said, what about one of these? Said, sure, you can start it. But, you can't turn it. So I said, what about one of these? Well, that's great. You know, you put one of these in the end of it. And you can connect it to things and whatnot. And then it goes, hey, that's a square. I gotta take the fans off. Which means I gotta take the pump out. I'm sad. But at least this piece isn't too short anymore. You know what sucks? I can't pull one of these back through. Because it's too big. So when I take the pump off, I'm just gonna have to like put it next to it. Because I can't get this one back through the hole. So all of it's ran. Honestly, it looks a lot better than last time. It's a lot cleaner, especially down on the lower half. This little one is shorter rather than being some weird S-bend from the bottom. This one looks a lot better from up front, and both of them in the back are a lot shorter. The graphics card was a pain. The next step, I guess, is to pressure test the tubing with some soapy water.
Yeah. Kind of. Hopefully we won't have to use the soapy water because the soapy water is used to identify which of the fittings is broke. So if we don't have to use soapy water, then that would be best.
Yeah. So from my understanding, EK gave us this fun little pressure test thing with the graphics card, and I'm all out of hands. So we take this end and plug it into the drain port, which is right here, and you probably can't see it because it's behind a post. And then we pump some pressure into it. And make sure it holds pressure. If it doesn't hold pressure, then we get the soapy water. So that was a lot easier of a fix than we anticipated. We started just painting stuff with soapy water, but then he started like pumping air into it and I could hear it whistle. And this rotary at the connection point between the graphics card and the actual rotary itself just wasn't tight. I just had to tighten it. Fixed our problem. We're now holding steady at 0.5. Nope, it just ticked down.
We have another.
Yeah, a very, very minuscule one. I bet it's that same fitting. Can you come see if you can get it tight, please?
Hold, please.
So I just put paper towel everywhere. We're going to run some distilled water through it. The gauge started holding pressure. We replaced 2 rotary fittings right here. So we're going to run some water through it, see if anywhere leaks. Hopefully no. I fucked up, turned the pump on with no water in it, so we're also going to make sure that works. So we ran water through it. Pump still works, which is awesome. There's a lot of air. We found one leak. It is this rotary right here. And it's leaking on the actual rotator cuff, which means that we have to replace that fitting. So, off camera, I plugged everything in. There was a fitting that was leaking because there was too much pressure from the tube. So what I ended up having to do was take the compression fitting and the rotary off and literally shave off barely anything off the tube to get it to stop leaking. It was literally like 1.5 millimeters too long. There's still a little bit of water in the system, but it's mostly drained. We're gonna fill it with EK's Electric Purple is the color that I chose this time around. We're just gonna add it to the water that's in here. The leaky one was this one.
Yep.
It was leaking right here in between the collar and the actual piece that spins. And it was just kind of dripping right here, and it was hitting this fitting down here, which made it look like this fitting was leaking, but I don't think it was because there was no water pooling on the bottom of the case.
So I'm going to turn around to this side. I thought this was soft tubing.
This is soft tubing.
Soft tubing doesn't really matter what the length is. It's not as strict like hard tubing is.
But it does, because it put a lot of pressure on it, and you can see that this kind of moves.
Okay.
But it was pushing out a little bit too far this way.
Okay.
And it was causing this to bend in an unnatural way for the fitting.
So it was pushing this collar back.
Yep.
Which was causing an excess of tension, which was opening this gasket in the rotary.
Rotary wasn't blown. Gasket was just being bent funny.
Pushed.
But I also had to do it a funny way because this fitting right there, I really don't want to take it out of the block unless we order a new block, because I'm pretty sure that one of us chipped the acrylic on the top of that block. It's not leaking. I think the O-ring from the compression fitting is keeping the leak, or the chip, filled. It's not chipped all the way through, but it is chipped right next to the threading. So I had to do this in such a way that I left the bottom of it connected, and I was able to redo the top. That was not fun.
You want to show us the back?
It's a mess.
Oh, come on. Every back of a computer's a mess. Show us your backside. All right, show me the cool things.
The cool things. I got a fan controller now.
Okay.
These tubes look awesome. They're not just like randomly in there.
Wow. No slack.
Yeah. I only used one box of tubing too. I didn't have to cut into that second box at all. So pretty proud of myself there.
And how many times have you done this?
By myself, once.
Which is this time?
Yep. I burnt 2 tubes, fucked up a couple of bends, used the burnt tubing because I refused to redo it, but it's okay. And now we're here.
Sweet, and you got to keep your fancy power supply there.
Yeah, rip Bendy Dude.
Rip Bendy Dude. What happened with Bendy Dude?
We lost it.
Bendy Dude is gone.
We also lost the top glass panel of my case.
I don't know where that one went either.
Don't ask me how you misplaced a glass panel, but we did.
It gets mixed in with all the other glass things because we had a glass computer case that we disposed of and it probably went along with it.
I'm not as upset about that as I am Bendy Dude. It just means that I'll be in the market for a new case sooner than I expected to be.
Because of Bendy Dude or the glass panel?
Yes. I was looking forward to having both of them back, considering that Bendy Dude is nowhere to be found. And the glass panel got disposed of. This case is now incomplete.
What's the next step?
Filling it? This will probably take all of it. But this is EK's Electric Purple. It is hopefully actually purple. Looking at the fluid when it's thick, it does look purple. But if I look at just like the froth, it's kind of pinkish. So here's to hoping it's not pink. Oh well, that's very purple.
Very purple, you say?
Yeah.
How purple is purple?
It looks like beet juice.
Yeah, that's purple.
Question is after 2 years, will this stain look worse than the blue? Probably. We're not going to wait that long.
I hope not. Have you not learned your lesson?
Absolutely not.
Yep, that's my wife. Yep.
and pointing into the glass.
Yeah, you right.